Thank you. Just a blessing. Now look, I've been given this weird assignment. 5 minutes to talk about white privilege. So, let me just say there are 3 components, which I think when we break down the components, it's helpful to figure out what you do about white privilege. So, we start with the most important one, which is the core of it, which is called white structural advantage. That's component number 1 of white privilege. White structural advantage. It means that a society such as ours, where whites are the dominant group politically, economically, culturally, historically, numerically. And in a democracy, the numeric part plays a pretty big role, but not the only role. Okay, so when you're used to dominating everywhere, that becomes the second component, which is white normativity. The normalization, and we've already heard that. The normalization of whites' culture, your ideas, your practices, your ways of understanding the world. It isn't a way, it is the way. Right? Becomes accepted as just as how things are. And that normativity leads to what I think is really the most important one and the most difficult one and the one we must address, called white transparency. It's the tendency to think that there isn't anything white specific. Whites don't do things, whites don't have a culture, they don't have a way of life, they simply live as if that's how all people live. And when they find people that don't, then they are not normative, and they are the deviants. Let me give you an illustration. So I teach a class called Race and Ethnic Relations, and I make this very simple assignment to my students. This is what it says. It says, for the next 24 hours, anytime you refer to someone who is white, preface it with the word white. So I asked them to say, when they're talking, hey, I was talking to my white friend the other day, or hey, Pops, my white professor gave me this really weird assignment. 24 hours, and then they're supposed to write a reflection paper. So here's what I learned from reading the reflection papers. For my white students, they have never in the history of their lives been given a more difficult and scary assignment. I see this over and over again. They describe, as they're about to begin, that they have sweaty palms, that their heart is racing, that they are flush. About a quarter of them chicken out and can't do it, and so they write about why they couldn't do it. 3/4 try it, almost nobody makes it the whole 24 hours. They say they feel like they are racist, like they're bringing race to the forefront, that it's so uncomfortable. So now you understand, this is the essence of white privilege, that you can't even attempt to think about it for 24 hours. It's a deformity ultimately, isn't it? It's a sickness. It's something that isn't healthy for us as believers to not be able to see it and to not recognize how it deforms our understanding of God. So what can we do? Well, we know that as humans, we're created to live together in community, to be valued, to be loved. Privileging any one group over another is clearly a violation of God's law. Martin Luther King, folks before him, with him, and after, have been hammering away at issues like white privilege, and they have made dents. Some people do come to see there is white privilege. That's a huge thing. My eyes were blind for most of my life, but somehow reading Martin Luther King, people like Soong-Chan and Velda, help me to see, so we can help one another. Let me suggest a couple of ways within our churches, as I was asked to do. Ultimately, I will say this. Who had the most power and privilege of all time? Right? Jesus. What did Jesus do with his power and privilege? Gave it up. Came to live with us. To me, in our churches, if we fundamentally just took that little piece and that we emphasized this year in teaching about how Jesus gave up privilege to change the world, to save us. If that's what we make our discipleship, then we have done something very important. Two specific ways that I have found incredibly beneficial for myself. When brothers and sisters of color say something or give an interpretation of life that I don't understand or that does not make sense to me, instead of simply dismissing it or counteracting it, I say, tell me more. I want to understand. Perhaps my understanding is limited. Do you know how hard that is for white folks? That's just not a natural thing. Perhaps books can be assigned in our Sunday school classes, written by authors of color, that give us a different understanding of who God is, or how we worship, or how relationships should happen, or community should happen, or just how important justice might be in a society. Let me just conclude by saying this. The biggest influence we could make in addressing white privilege is if we can help folks like myself to see that what seems right is in fact simply white. We will have done something rather dramatic. Ultimately, that we must reform that which is deformed so that we can conform to God's given design. Thank you so much.